Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. Um, so you're finishing up Unit 1 this week, and Unit 1 had to do with sort of descriptive writing. And in that descriptive writing, you are necessarily writing probably in first person, meaning you're using the pronoun I, because you're talking about a character that you like. You didn't necessarily have to do that, but it is probably something you did regardless. This week, we're really starting to pivot to more academic style of writing. And the main focus of this week is we have two main focuses. The first, sort of figuring out how to use sources, how to find reliable sources, how to know when you are encountering a source that might not be as reliable. And then for the main assignment, you're going to be actually reading an article that is provided for you in the instruction sheets for Unit 2. And then you are going to write a little paragraph about that as well. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, as always, you want to start with the reading and resources for the week. And this first section here deals with building an essay and kind of talks about the difference between writing in the first person and third person, gives you some examples here. So in the first person, it would be, I think masks should be worn by people when they're indoors in a crowd. In third person, it says masks should be worn by people when they're indoors in a crowd. It's the same sentiment. The one in third person packs more gravity, more sort of universality. It sort of it seems more like a statement of fact than an opinion. And that is what you're going to be using from here on out, is the third person style of writing. All right, so read these 2 pages here. And then there's a little section on finding reliable sources and what makes a source reliable in the first place, and sort of how to go about finding those sources as you write your essays this term. There is also an activity that I'd like you to do on citing evidence here. And it deals with the 3 different ways that you can cite evidence. So the first is direct quoting, where you're actually putting in quotation marks the exact word for word quote from an article, a book, etc. Paraphrasing is where you take the quote and you put it into your own words. And in general, a paraphrase is about the same length as the original text. So if you're paraphrasing from a paragraph, your paraphrase should be in your own words, not using any phrasing of or similar words to the original source, a paragraph as well. The third way is a summary, and this is where you condense information from a source, and this should be much shorter. So if you're summarizing an entire chapter, 20 pages of something, you would summarize that maybe in 1 to 2 pages, right? So much more condensed, really just focusing on the main points. And this activity will walk you through how to do all of that in APA style. All right. And then finally, there's this little video here on our library resources, which is the place where you're going to be finding your research this term. We are going to do an argumentative essay at the end, and you're going to need to find sources for that. And so watch this video on how to access the library resources. All right, so that's the reading and resources. That's where you're going to begin. This week's discussion board has to do with reliable sources, and you need to post your initial post by Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. And your initial post should answer these 2 questions. First, what do you think the biggest difference is between an unreliable source and a reliable source? Again, reading the source material and readings and resources will definitely help you have something to say about that. And the second question is, why do you think a reliable scholarly source is always stressed in academic writing? That is, why do we English professors at college demand that you write from the perspective of with reliable and scholarly sources? Why don't we just let you cite Wikipedia? Why don't we just let you cite Jim Bob down the road, right? What's the deal with that? Okay, so those are sort of opinion pieces. You're going to write your own opinion there. The reading and resources will help you with that. So that is the first step. You need to do that by Wednesday night at 11:59 p.m. Then by Sunday night, you need to respond to 2 classmates, okay? And in your response, this is very crucial. You're not going to get credit for these responses unless you do this, or not full credit anyway. You want to provide an interesting, unreliable source for your classmates and for me to consider. If you forget to do this in your comments, I will definitely send you a message I will reply to your thread in the discussion forum. But if you're replying to your classmates, you want to provide the link to a source that you think is unreliable as you're commenting on your classmates' work. All right. So that's the discussion board. Again, that's going to be initial post due Wednesday, 2 classmate replies by Sunday. Now on Wednesday, like always, I'm going to have a more detailed walkthrough of the Unit 2 assignment. I'll also provide a sample of this as I did last week, but I just want to kind of give you some just a general parameters of what this assignment is asking you to do so that you can get started on that if you would like. So when you click in here, you want to click on the Unit 2 assignment. This is where you're going to find it, and it opens up to this. And so what you're going to do first is read this article, which is called Characteristics of Gritty and Resilient People. When you click on it, you'll be sent to our libraries page. You need to log in with your post ID, your same login you do with Blackboard and all that. And this is the article that it will pop up with. It should look like this. You're going to read this first. It's Characteristics of Gritty and Resilient People. You can download it if you want. If you don't want to have to keep coming back through here, you can download by clicking on this. That way you have it saved to your computer, and you're going to read through. And so essentially it's the characteristics of gritty and resilient people. This is a big topic in education, certainly, but in success in general. The idea of grit, this idea of when you're faced with adversity, how people who might not per se be as talented as others, but they have this gritty aspect to them, are often the ones that are more successful. And so you're going to read about that first. Then you're going to come back here and you're going to create 1 paragraph writing in the 3rd person. So there should not be the pronoun I in this text at all. You're not writing the pronoun I. You're writing from the 3rd person perspective. There's an example here that you'll see, but you're going to basically write a paragraph that answers this question. So of the listed characteristics related to grit and resilient people, which are found in here, again, which one do you view as the most important? So you're going to phrase this as sort of an argument in a sense. You're going to say the most important characteristic of grit highlighted in this article is the need to be self-aware. Or whatever it is that you choose, right? You're not going to say, I believe, blah, blah, blah. You're going to say the most important. You're going to refrain from using first person. That will be a criteria that I grade on. So it's serious. Please don't just not do it. And so you're going to write from there. As you go through, you're going to follow the directions on how to sort of craft this paragraph as you're kind of coming up with the topic. The topic should be your specific, characteristic of grit. And then your goal is to demonstrate to us why you think that's the most important characteristic, right? You're looking to have 7 to 9 sentences in this paragraph. And you also want to quote from the article itself, a direct quote. So that's where you're putting, you're using your parentheses to put in the exact words from this article. You're going to copy something from this that helps demonstrate why you think one of those characteristics is the most important. As I said, I will have a this is the reference page. This is what you have to put. That's the citation. It's done for you, right? You just have to put it in the right place. On my sample essay, I will show you where that goes, how that goes, what it should look like. All right. And again, I will turn my focus on that on my Wednesday video. But I just wanted you to be aware of this as we get started. And that is it for the week. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to email me. If you'd like to schedule a video chat, we can do that as well. I was really impressed with your participation in Unit 1. I will be looking to get the grading done. So my schedule basically works like this. Your discussion boards will be graded no later than Wednesday. Your paragraphs, so the Unit 1 paragraphs, will be graded no later than Friday. They might be graded before then, but that's the deadline I have to get my work done as well. You have deadlines, and so do I. So you'll have grades and feedback, extensive feedback on all aspects. Wednesday for the discussion boards for Unit 1, Friday for the paragraphs for Unit 1. All right. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with on our topics for unreliable sources. I'm really excited to see if you can find some interesting sources in your peer replies, and we'll chat then. All right, take care.